Yeah, there's actually several different reasons why we know that physical activity is related to mental health. And, I am not only a researcher in this space, but I've now been present in the research for so long that there is so much evidence that's convincing that there is this relationship. And so what's important is if you understand the reasons why, then you can sort of associate that with wanting to move more throughout the day. And so first of all, there are physiological reasons, and that is, the neuro markers in your brain function in a way when you move, they increase your positive emotions. So, there's very much of a neurological connection. Physiologically, there are a number of connections tied to the body moving, and again, this increase in positive emotion. There's historical connections suggesting that as humans, we were technically meant to move more than we do now. And so, we spend most of our days sitting when we used to, in the past, be more movement focused. And so if we move, we are sort of bringing our bodies to that point in which we were meant to move. And because of that, it increases our positive emotions because we're in a position where we should have been as humans. And then there's also exercise and movement increases your body temperature, and that heat and that warmth of increasing your body temperature makes you feel, cared for and loved in a similar way that we connect it to, self-compassion practices of hugging yourself, for example. And so that increase in body temperature, even if you don't feel it, you're not necessarily sweating or your heart is racing or anything like that. Small increases make you feel more comfortable, and that improves your positive emotions. And then just feeling better, having those small goals throughout your day gives you that sense of mastery. And we all like to accomplish. We like to be in a position where we're giving ourselves goals and accomplishing them. And so that mastery sense also helps consider the relationship between physical activity or movement and mental health. It's really about, just being less critical of oneself and sort of relaxing any expectations that you have, especially post-pandemic, because, circumstances, public health regulations around the world sort of countered any kind of opportunities for movement. People had to be creative, and so now one of the innovations that have come from the pandemic specifically have been a whole other grouping of online activities and practices that you can engage in, much more emphasis on mindfulness practices, on meditative practices that tie in movement and meditation, exercise and physical activity programs for any level of individual. And so if you're the type of person that enjoys or feels like you're more comfortable working out alone, there's a lot more opportunity from technology perspective to engage in exercise or movement. And then, again, all of these, if you feel like you're more likely to participate in movement activities in groups, then, finding environments outdoors, seeing people when you're outside is important. Being outdoors to do movement activities in the first place actually adds like an extra element, because we know that the outdoors is important for mental health. We know that moving is important for mental health. And then we also know that these social environments are also important for mental health. And so if you can find ways to sort of match those practices together, it's important. And then also if you do find that you're being critical, I didn't do enough, I wasn't able to, get as far as I wanted or to do as much, being able to then counter those negative thoughts with, again, some compassionate practices to be able to be more kind to the self and know that there's no guideline or recommendation for mental health specifically around movement. It's what we know is that moving more throughout your day is important. And beyond that, again, just coming back to the type of activity, the intensity of activity, especially for mental health, any activity is important. And so, recognizing that and being kind to oneself and giving yourself the feedback that you need to keep going is critical.